Hello, I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander. Magic the Gathering has tens of thousands of cards to choose from. Some are amazing, some are duds, and some go by the wayside and get forgotten, but they really shouldn't. Here are my top 3 picks for underrated cards that you should put in your Commander deck. First up, we've got Bonder's Ornament. 3-cost artifact that taps for 1 mana of any color, and you can pay 4 and tap it to draw a card. Now I know everyone's all about 0-drop artifacts, and if it's anything more than 2 for an artifact rock, it's garbage. That's ridiculous. If you want to shell out the hundreds and hundreds of dollars necessary for all the fancy moxes this and jeweled that's, you go right ahead. But most people just want something that can help ramp them up a little bit and have some extra mana on the battlefield. So not only does Bonder's Ornament tap for 1 mana of any color, unlike things like Thought Vessel that tap for 1 colorless, but it's also card draw on a stick. Yes, it does cost 4 mana to do it, and you have to tap it, but the point is, it's there, it's on the battlefield for when you need it. If you're getting land screwed, or if you're getting spell screwed and you need something else, 4 mana, tap it, you've got yourself an extra card draw. Next up, we've got Trailblazer Boots. I really don't know why I don't see this more often in decks and in discussions. It's a 2-drop equipment that only costs 2 to equip, and it gives you non-basic land walk, which means anytime any of your opponents has something other than a basic land, you can get straight through unblocked. You don't have to worry about having trample or flying or whatever, you just waltz straight through and punch him in the face. It's a perfect and almost necessary addition to any commander damage decks, infect decks, and really, even if you're going wide with combat damage, it's still great to have and toss on your biggest creature. The fact that it's an equipment means that even if they blow up the board, it just falls to the battlefield and you get to equip it to the next creature you cast. Now you may be saying, but what about monocolor decks? Well, of course, you're definitely going to run into monocolor decks in your pods, and maybe even a couple in one pod. But even so, the majority of players still run things like Reliquary Tower, Rogue's Passage, Ghost Quarter, all kinds of lands that within their own colors for that monocolor deck that give them some sort of boost, like Cabal Coffers or Bajuka Bog. Things like that are still non-basic lands, and they're almost staples in every black or colorless or whatever color commander deck you have. So most of the time you're probably going to be able to use Trailblazer Boots to get through. So make sure you consider that in your equipment decks and even your non-equipment decks. And finally, a personal favorite, Vicious Rumor. This is crazy good value for 1 black mana. It really should be in pretty much every one of your black mana decks. Vicious Rumor deals 1 damage to each opponent discards a card, then puts the top card of their library into the graveyard, and you gain 1 life. Sure, each one of those things is just one little instance in a giant game of Commander. But the point is, you're hitting each opponent for all these things. So that's 3 damage, 3 discarded cards, 3 milled cards, and you even gain a life. And anyone that plays any kind of Commander on a regular knows that 1 life in either direction can mean all the difference. And if you're making them discard, maybe that 1 extra discarded card slows them down. Or maybe the card that gets milled is one of their main pieces for their combo. For 1 black mana, it's really hard to say that it's not worth it. So consider running these cards in your decks. They don't see a ton of play, but they should.